Hello my beautiful people, and welcome to Fun in the Kitchen with April. And today I'm going to show you how to make dressing for Thanksgiving. I mean, we're only like 2-3 days away from Thanksgiving, so why not get started on this dressing. Okay, so what we're going to need to start our dressing is we're going to need 4 boxes of stovetop stuffing. We're going to make some Jiffy cornbread, a tablespoon of butter, 3 celery stalks diced up, 2 medium onions diced up, ground sage, poultry seasoning. I'm going to also add in some Italian sausage, chicken broth, and also 4 bouillon chicken cubes, which I have already dissolved down into some water for some extra flavor. So we're going to get started on this in a minute. Okay, so in my pan I have my butter. Now I'm going to add my celery, and if you hear something sizzling, that is me making the Italian sausage so that they'll be ready. They're just cooking away over there, and I'm just browning them up, and I'm adding the onions in here. And we're going to get all of that in there, and we're just going to let this saute. It'll be good if I turn the oven on, right? I mean the stove on. So we're going to saute this up, and I'm just going to let that get hot right quick, and then we'll be able to put this into our breadcrumbs. Now, I know you're probably thinking, why is she using stovetop stuffing to make dressing? I'm going to tell you why. It's a shortcut. I remember growing up and toasting a whole bunch of bread for my mom to make the dressing. And this is just a quicker way. I mean, because toasting up all that bread, it's a bit ridiculous right now, and no one has that kind of time. Why not get you some stovetop stuffing? It's seasoned breadcrumbs, the same as if you were to get a bag of seasoned breadcrumbs. And you do the same preparation with it, you know, and then of course add in anything else that you'd like to add into it, because some people even like oysters in their dressing. So add what you like in your dressing, and then add a little bit more of poultry seasoning, a little bit more sage, and there you go. You have some good dressing. So I am just getting this meat browned up here because I want to be able to put this into our dressing. But yeah, I'm just trying to make life a little easier, because if you know, during Thanksgiving you have to cook a lot, and if there's any shortcuts that you can take, hey, by all means take them, because I am not toasting up any bread. I'm going to tell you that right now. But you know, those are memories that I have of cooking with my mom, and that's part of why we do the holidays, because we like to create those memories with our families, right? And so why not? That's why I say get your kids in there cooking with you. Let's start creating memories with them. Let them learn how to do this, because one day you're going to be old and you're going to have to let them take the reins on cooking. So why not show them now what you need to do to make a great Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner or what have you, any celebration that requires a lot of cooking. Get them in that kitchen with you and show them what needs to be done. You know, I have my cornbread in the oven waiting on that to bake up, and this is the bouillon cubes that I have dissolved into some water. That's just going to give me some extra flavor. That's all that's going to do. Give me that extra flavor, because sometimes the broth in the box isn't as flavorful as I like it. So I'm going to add some flavor to it. You know? And this Italian sausage is going to be flavorful, add some extra flavor, and I'm telling you, it's just going to be some good dressing. So I'm going to continue to cook up our, saute our onions and celery, and we'll be back with. So as you can see, our corn muffins are done. So I'm gonna let them cool off, and our onions and celery are still sauteing. So as soon as those become translucent, I will take them off of the fire and we will put our dressing together. But I tell you, oh, it smells so good between the Italian sausage and the onions and the celery. It smells really good in here right now. I'm ready to eat this now, you know, but we're gonna wait until Thanksgiving, because this is what I'm making it for, Thanksgiving. Yep, and I know you're saying, you're making this early. Thanksgiving is on Thursday, but you know what you can do with your dressing. You can freeze your dressing, and it tastes even better when you take it back out. And that's what I'm gonna do with this dressing. I'm gonna make it tonight, and then plus this is less work. You don't have to do all that cooking the day of, you know. Freeze your dressing and call it a day. Pull it out when you need it on Thanksgiving, heat it back up, and it tastes just as fresh as if you made it that same day. And that helps to alleviate some of that stress on Thanksgiving Day with having to cook everything at one time. You don't have to do that. Do some things ahead of time. Freeze it, and it's even better when you take it out, because all those flavors got a chance to marry into each other, you know? But we'll be back once this is ready, and I'll show you how to put everything together. Okay, so I've added 3 boxes instead of 4 boxes of the stovetop stuffing, and I'm gonna add in my cornbread in a minute. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get our onions and celery in here. And if I need to add another box of stovetop, I will. But right now I did 3. And let me see what I get to, you know, how much I get out of my 3 boxes. And I'll just add one more if I need it. I know initially I said 4 boxes, but I might be okay with 3. So let's just see. Okay, so I put my onions and celery in there. Mix that around a little bit. And as you can see, you see some of the seasoning from the stovetop stuffing. You see it has that seasoning in there already, but we're going to add more to that. Okay, so let me go ahead and start breaking up my cornbread. Just like this. You don't have to do anything special. And once again, as I always say, your hands should be clean. Mine are. I have washed my hands several times. So I can take my cornbread and just crumble it up just like that. And that's what you want to do. You just want your cornbread crumbled up in there. Just like that. And in fact, I'm just going to dump the cornbread in here. And then, there we go, sorry. I dropped that pan in the sink and it made such a loud noise. And we're going to get this right on in here. And this is just going to add more flavor to our dressing. That's what the cornbread is going to do. Just add more flavor to our dressing. So, as you can see, as I mix it up, I don't think I'm going to need another box of the stovetop. Because since I added in the breadcrumbs, it looks pretty full. You know, so I think I may be good. And now I still have to add in the sausage, which will give it that extra good flavor. And then I'm still going to add in my other seasonings, and I still have to add in our broth. And that's all you're doing. You're just mixing everything up in there really, really good. You want everything mixed really well in there. Boy, I tell you, this just reminds me of all of those holidays with my mom, who is no longer living. And doing this just reminds me of all of those holidays that we shared with her as a family, you know. My sister, my brother, you know, my aunts, my cousins, and I'm sure everyone misses her just as much as I do, you know. So yeah, and that's all I'm doing. Just like this. I think I got everything incorporated really well in here, because that's what I want. I want to get that that cornbread mixed in good with the breadcrumbs here. And you can see the seasonings from the stovetop stuffing. But like I said, I like to add a little bit more of my own seasoning just to make sure that it's nice and flavorful. It's nice to have a good dressing. It really is. Okay, now I'm going to add in my sausage. And we're going to mix everything in there. And this is going to give it a little moisture as well with the juice from our sausage. It's going to give it some extra moisture in there, which is what you want, because the key to a good dressing is the moisture. But you can't have it too moist, because then it becomes soggy dressing, and then you can't have it too dry, because it's just not good with a dry dressing. It's just like this if it's dry. So the key is getting that ratio of moisture to breadcrumbs together. That's the key to a good dressing. Yeah, but you really don't want to have it too moist over. That way it'll be soggy if it's too moist. But you want that consistency to be just right. And you see, I'm just trying to get that mixed in here really well, because I want every bit of that sausage in every part of this dressing. That's what I want. So I'm mixing it in here really well. And you see, it added a little bit of moisture, like I was saying, to it, so it doesn't look as dry. And of course, we're going to add more moisture to that. But it's already added, that sausage added some of that moisture that we need for our dressing in here. Okay. I just want to make sure that we have all of that in there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is take my poultry seasoning, and I'm going to sprinkle that in here. That's good. And I'm going to get my ground sage. And I mean, you could use rubbing sage, but I have ground sage, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to sprinkle some more of that in here. That gives you that nice flavor. And I'm going to give that a mix in there, so that we make sure those flavors get mixed in. And that's just extra flavor. I mean, because the poultry seasoning is already in there, and so is the sage. But all I did was add extra. That's all I did. Nothing wrong with having a little extra, because those aren't salty agents. You know, they're not. Those aren't seasonings that have a lot of salt in it, that have any salt in it. So we're good there, you know. And it's not overpowering. They're not real strong, you know. So it's good. And plus, I have a lot of dressing here, a lot of bread. So I need a little extra. So we're good. We're good with what we did here. There we go. So this is a mixture. You know, some people like just plain breadcrumbs for their dressing. Some people like just plain cornbread dressing. Well, my household likes the mixture in the mix of the breadcrumbs and the cornbread into the mix. I mean, yeah, the mixture of the breadcrumbs and cornbread in the mix. For now, I'm going to just add all of this broth here, and I'm going to mix that up. And see, that gave it more moisture, but again, that wasn't enough. And the reason why I did the bouillon cubes melted those down was because the bouillon cubes have a lot more flavor than the broth in the container. But you see, that's still not enough moisture here. So we have to add more. But I really did the bouillon cubes because I want that flavor from the bouillon cubes, because it has all that extra flavor. That's what I want. That flavor from the bouillon cubes. So I've added that in, and we want to just get that mixed in there. That's what we want to do. So now I'm going to take my box of the chicken broth, and I'm just going to pour a little bit at a time because I need to make sure that I'm not adding too much. So we're just going to pour a little bit. There we go. There we go. We'll close that and we'll mix that. We'll mix that up some more. Now I can see I'm going to need some more broth, because you don't want it too dry. But you have to do it a little bit at a time. That way you know how much more broth you need to add. You don't just want to keep adding and not mixing, because that's not going to tell you anything. You need to mix it up a little bit so that you can see, oh, I need some more broth, you know, and that's what you do. So like, I need more broth. I'm going to go ahead and add in more broth. There we go. Okay. So I'm adding that in. There we go. And it's starting to get to the consistency that I want. There we go. So that's all you're really doing. You're making sure that it has that good consistency. Again, you don't want it to be too soggy, but you don't want it to be too dry. So you keep doing that until you get the right consistency. And as I can see, again, I'm going to have to add in more broth. And that's what you do. Because see, we have some dryness down at the bottom. And that's why it's important to continue to mix, you know, because you need to get all the way down to the bottom. Because everyone on top got that broth, but the bottom hasn't gotten it. So we need to make sure that everyone has a little bit of broth. And that is why you have to continue to mix it. That's what you're doing. You want to continue to mix it around so that that broth gets everywhere. And see, I can tell it's not as moist as I want it, but it's not real dry anymore either. So this tells me I need to add in some more broth. That's what that is telling me. I need to add in some more broth. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add in some more broth. Because remember, I put that cornbread in there, so that is a lot of bread into the breadcrumbs that we had. So that's a lot. So we want to make sure that it's not real dry. And I think I may be good now. I don't think I need any more broth. I think this is the consistency I wanted. And I think I'll be good. Let me see. Yeah. I think I'll be good. I might just put a tidbit more in here, but for the most part, this is what you want. You want it to kind of be like soft bread. Wet bread is actually what you have. Wet bread. But yeah, I think I need to put just a tidbit more in here. I might as well, let's see. No, I'm not going to finish the container, but I am going to add a little bit more of this chicken broth in here. And that's it. And again, I am going to mix. There we go. Get that mixed in there. And I'm going, and this is what I want. This is the consistency I want. It's not too soggy. I'm going to see if I could bring it up to you a little bit. It's not too soggy, but it's not real dry either. And that's what you want, because when it bakes, you know what's going to happen. It's going to dry a little bit when it bakes. And that's why it's important to have enough broth in there, because some of that broth is going to bake out of it. That's why it's important to have enough. And that's what you want. You see how nice and moist this is? And you know what? This can stand a little bit more broth, because it's still a little stiff. So we can stand the, really, and I'm just, you know what? I'm just going to use the rest of this box. Yeah. Yeah, because once I put this in the oven, it's going to bake, and some of that broth is going to be absorbed into, well, that's what's going to happen. It's going to absorb into our breadcrumbs and our cornbread. So there we go. And as I mix it up, you can see it dissolving. And there we go. This is what you want right here. Because I had a lot of breadcrumbs and a lot of cornbread. And this is what you want. And I'm going to show you again. Just like that. That is what you want. Okay? So no, it's not too soggy. It's not real dry. It's just right. And that's what you have to look for when you're making your dressing. So what I'm going to do is pop this in the oven, and I'm going to let it cook. And once it's done, I'll tell you how long I let it cook for. But I think we have a pretty good dressing. And I will see you guys later. And here is the finished product. This is our dressing ready for Thanksgiving. And like I said, because it's been made ahead of time, you can freeze this and just take it out Thanksgiving Day, pop it in the oven, and you're good and ready to go. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed as I have enjoyed you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and press the notification bell so that you know the next time I have a great recipe coming for you. Bye, and happy holidays.